Welcome back into Pritch's Get Stitches. We're glad you found us. Hopefully this is not your first time listening into us. Hopefully this is, 7, 8, maybe you've listened to one 10 or 12 times. That would be awesome if you did. So
I think that's what your kids do. They just listen to them over and over again.
You know, we've got one of our nephews, Bear. He's down in the islands right now in the Caribbean. And he actually sent us a voice message the other day. And so quick shout out to Bear. Good job, man. Thanks for listening in. He told us he loves the show. He's what? How old? You know him better than me.
He is, I think he's going to be 12 this year.
Okay. So he's listening
11
in.
11 or 12.
Oh, Cameo by Jayce back there.
Cameo for Jayce.
There we go.
11 or 12, I can't remember. Yeah.
So he listened.
Right.
That's right. He listens into us, sent us a message, said he loved it. So feel free, guys, send us a message. Only good ones, though. I mean, nobody wants to hear that you hate our show. So
right. If you hate it, just move on. Don't troll us. We're just doing this for fun.
Exactly.
And if you don't like
millions
it, one day. But if you don't like it, just be a good person and move on. You don't have to say something mean and negative.
Right. That's right. Hey, so today, Holly, I'm greened out. I've got a big weekend this weekend.
Yeah. What's going on this weekend?
Yeah. So we've got state volleyball tournament.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we will be in Irving, and pretty much the same teams we played in regional. So we got a shot. There's a few teams going, but we were, I guess, drew the short end of the stick when they made the schedule because they gave us 4 games in a row. I feel bad for my girls.
Do they do that because you guys are the number 1 seed?
I don't know if they even knew that we were the number 1 seed. I think maybe we were the first team to register. So they're like, oh, you're the first team they put in to
gotcha.
Computer generated schedule. And so everybody plays 3 games except us in the pool play. We play 4.
Uh-huh.
And so then I was like, hey, this is kind of like unfair, right? Especially because they're playing in a row. Then I tried to help them like rework the schedule. And I was like, I did like a whole logic sheet. Remember the logic sheets when you're kids? And it was like, yeah. So I was like, okay, these guys play these guys. And I X'd it out. And then I, blacked out the ones that,
And they were like, we're not interested in hearing from you.
No, straight up. He was like totally interested in it. But then I realized because there's the amount of teams, like each team would, like one team would play 4 no matter how we did it. So I'm like, we'll just do it. It's fine. Or the other option was every team plays 3 except one team plays 2. And then it's like, well, now they have fresh legs. You know what I mean? So it's like either way. So we play
your
4
lowest team and just make them honorable mention. Like you just get like a bye, like how they do in the playoffs. Isn't it football? Like the number 1 seed gets a bye. That's what they should have done. Well,
so the way it'll work is, they have the teams, we play the pool play and they decided to do it all in one day. So I'm thankful for that because it's in Irving. And so it was either like do it all in one day or drive to Irving, which for us about 40-minute drive. Drive to Irving, play your pool play, go home, drive back the next day, play your bracket. So they did it all in one day. So it's basically starts at 9:00. We have 4 games in a row. Then we have a game off. Unless we're the 4th and 5th seed, then they play. And then we play again like an hour later.
So you play 4 games. It doesn't matter if you win like the first game or lose the first game. You're still playing 4 total.
Yes. So we have 4 games because it's the pool plays to determine who gets the number 1 seed. Basically.
Oh, gotcha.
And then we do the bracket and there's only 2 games in the bracket. So, 3 games if you're the last place.
I think that's weird though. If you guys are number 1 out of regionals. Oh, I guess it's because this is regional play now. These are all the teams who won the regionals going.
Yeah. So technically what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I'm greened out because that's the color of our team. So we actually, and to top it off, I feel so bad for these girls. And I'll talk about how they do next time, but they have a game tonight during our like normal season. We have a game tonight, 9:00 p.m. And then we drive to Irving tomorrow morning, 7:30. So
I won't be at the early games either, probably tomorrow. I'm just going to put it out. I might come to like the later 2 games in the pool,
I'll let you know.
Depending on when they are, depending on what happens tonight. Yeah. It is a Friday. So
it is a Friday. Yes. Okay. We got this new segment you decided to make us do. And I went to Walmart today to the international section and I looked for Spotted Dick. Here we are, second episode in, and I cannot find it. I can't find it.
I mean, I can't say I'm disappointed, but I don't know what you've chosen in its place. I don't know. I feel like maybe Spotted Dick might be better than some of the things you've chosen. It's got to be. It's a pudding custard thing.
I was in the donut section because today, we were recording today. It's National Donut Day. And I was in the donut section and they didn't, I was very disappointed in Walmart. They didn't even have donuts. All they have, they sell now Krispy Kreme donuts. It's like they don't even make their own. I don't even know. And they had
What about H-E-B? Maybe we ought to start going to H-E-B. I feel like they have a bigger, they have a better selection. They make their donuts in-house.
Yeah, shout out to H-E-B. Hey, we're from Texas. We're from Texas and you getting some H-E-Bs up by me. But H-E-B's closer to you. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have you bring in the food next time. We'll find some Spotted Dick. Yeah, so I did put it onto the Walmart app. And I typed in spotted dick.
And I bet a vibrator pulled up.
It did.
Or something. I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it had to be Walmart. It's not intuitive.
It was.
Did you put it in quotes even?
No, but it was massage toys that pulled up.
You should have stuck it in quotes. I wonder if that would have made a difference.
Yeah, so their international section, like they have Asian and they have like Hispanic, but they don't really have like a British section. Like even Kroger had a better British section, but they didn't have
you know who will have good stuff, I bet? I'm going to hit the World Market. World Market has all sorts of food from all over the world.
Ranch 99. They do too, but I don't know if there's one by you.
I don't know what that is.
Ranch
I just know
Market.
World Market is less than 1 mile from my house because it's next to the Home Goods, which is also next to my favorite liquor store.
There you go.
So that is one place that I think I know how to get to without GPS. I've never actually attempted it, but I feel like I could get there eventually. Maybe. Not confident in that statement, actually, now that I said it.
Yeah. Well, there's this place called Ranch 99. It's over by you. And we get like, I don't know if it's just Asian though, because we get like Pondasol rolls and you walk in and it smells like dead fish. Just FYI.
I'm not going there. I'll just go to World Market.
Yeah, you probably
forget it.
So anyways, I walked around Walmart looking around. I was going to get in the donut section. I was going to get custard filled Bismarcks because those are my favorite.
Those. Okay. Those are what HEB calls long johns.
Well, they have the long johns, but those are the long ones. And then the ones that are in a circle.
Oh, gotcha. That's the
same thing. It's the same concept. Just one's a long one.
Those are good, but I'm glad you didn't get them because I've been doing okay on my little diet. I'm down 2.2 pounds now.
There you go. Not me.
And I went on a 5-mile walk/run yesterday.
Oh, there you go.
As rowing has killed my back a little bit. But today I will say my back pretty killed today from that walk run. So I was glad I didn't have to do it. I don't exercise on the days that we film because my face turns bright red when I work out and it stays bright red for hours. So.
Well, I haven't exercised for a while. So I had the ChatGPT exercise going and then school got out and Ava has strength and conditioning.
So you do that with
workouts with the school. No. So it's at the school.
Oh,
and so it's like she's going into 7th grade. And so all the athletes, they do strength and conditioning during the summer and it's 7 to 9.
Oh, that's early.
We have somebody that picks up and then drops them off. And then I go retrieve them at 9 o'clock. I'm in the carpool because that's what we do up here.
Why were we talking about that?
I don't know. We got off track. Exercising and donuts.
Oh, donuts. That's right. Don't bring donuts.
I can usually remember what takes us there. Like when we're having like the last episode when I asked you like one question and we ended up who knows where and we never did answer the question. So anyways, I just put this over there for you, Holly. You can look at it. So when our kids are sick or when we're sick, we take these, we call them Suja Boy. Kind of like Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy.
So we sing the song and we're like Suja Boy up in. Oh, I don't know how it goes.
I don't even know how that song goes. It's been so long. I just know Suja Boy.
Yes. So.
But I don't know if he sings Soldier Boy actually, as I just sang that. I just know he does the thing. Okay, so this is scary.
Why did you crank that?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So we call it Suja Boy. So this one I have digestion shot, and we make our kids drink them, and they hate it. They'll do it. And I do it, but they're really like this one has ginger and probiotics. And I didn't tell you this, Holly, but yours is worse.
Great.
You think you know what you were doing. You're like, oh, I've had something like, you were trying to guess what it was. And when you said our cousin drinks those and you're like, yeah, that's good. But I think.
Yeah. Well, mine's elderberry. Mine's immunity elderberry shot. And I've been struggling with some allergies the last week. Okay. And this one has zinc and probiotics. And I'm a big believer in zinc. Mom taught me that. Uh-oh, here we go. I'm scared.
So we're going to drink this. You got to drink the whole thing. So Jayce,
the whole thing. One shot.
I have a picture of Jayce.
Oh, it smells terrible.
Oh, yeah. It tastes terrible, too.
Oh, I'm glad. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I was prepared today. I brought a second full coffee and have had only like 2 sips on it because last week I got stuck with the seaweed snacks and no coffee. Yeah. It was bad. And today, this show, I was like, remember to bring your toothbrush so you can go in and brush your teeth after if it tastes bad. And I forgot it.
Yeah. So these are not. Ooh, these are not. They're not delicious, but hey, they work. Like we give them to our kids, and I think it helps.
Hey,
it doesn't kill you. It's got to make.
And it's not expired, so I feel a little bit better about this one already.
All right, here we go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that is terrible. Oh, that's. Have you had mine before? You lied. You said it was good.
I had to get you to drink it. Mine's ginger and it burns going down.
Oh, that was bad. That tastes terrible.
So we take those. Do you see why my kids hate us?
Yeah, that's not the one that Susie's is good. Hers is like a pina colada flavor. Oh.
So
that shit better be good. I better have no more freaking allergies after that shot. Oh.
So we'll see how you feel by the end of the show.
Oh, that was terrible.
Mine's digestion, so I might have to pause and go use the bathroom. But Suja, so we try it so you don't have to. There you go. It's good. It's good for you.
Not good though.
Mine's gingery. Oh yes, I had yours one day. So we got some for the kids for Lexi had some allergies and things. And so we got them, and she didn't finish them all. And so I was like, I'll just take it because I think I started to get sick later. And I took that one, and I was like, this is horrendous.
Oh, that was so nasty. I won't be buying any of those. Sorry, Suja. You're not going to get my business. But Suja, if you want to sponsor us, you will get my business all day long. I will sponsor you all day and drink one at the start of the show and even put a fake smile on my face and not gag. Suja, we love you.
That was a good one. I got you on that one, huh?
Oh, you did.
Seaweed
I was
better,
expecting
or
it
would you
to
rather
be...
have?
Ooh.
Would you rather have the seaweed, or would you rather have that?
I'd rather drink that because that's a fast drink. That seaweed lasted forever. It was like trying to chew it. You could taste it the whole time you chewed. Mm-hmm.
Then you burped
and
it
then
up.
And then you had to swallow it. But with this one, I actually didn't taste anything until the last. Like I got it all down before I finally tasted it. I mean, I just don't want to do either. They're both not good.
All right, so why don't you pick next week? You can go to HEB and find us something good.
Okay, I'm going to find us something good.
Spotted dick if you find
I'll see if there's spotted dick. If there's spotted dick, I'll buy that. If not, I'll find something that we don't have to cook.
Sounds good. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I got my coffee full, so I can sip on this and get rid of that elderberry zinc probiotic flavor. Terrible.
Whew. I do have some gummy bears too. I'll probably be jumping on them. All right, I'm not here to hijack any fun facts of the day.
Oh, I just burped it again. Sorry.
Last week we talked about Dr. Pepper. So what do you have? What do you have this week?
So the fun fact of the day today, because I know you love Coke Zero. Is Coke Zero better than Dr. Pepper? Where does Coke Zero fall in the hierarchy of Dr. Pepper?
It's Dr. Pepper's one, and I think all the flavors of Dr. Pepper. So like Dr. Pepper Zero even falls up above it. They used to have one Dr. Pepper 10.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, they don't.
I think they had that before they came out with the zeros, though, right?
Yeah, they did. So they had Dr. Pepper 10, and it was before Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, and I think they've gotten rid of Dr. Pepper 10. But that one was pretty good. I actually liked that one better than Zero Sugar, probably because it had a little bit of sugar in it. I also would take strawberries and cream and cherry and all of them. And then comes Coke.
Okay.
And of course, I'll take flavor-wise, I would take a Coke over Coke Zero, but I do try to limit some sugar intake at some point, even though like aspartame's probably
because you love some candy. So any other way that you can limit sugar.
Yeah, so I'll get candy. I'll get candy and then the zero sugar soda. So then I can kind of have both. I can have
it cancels each other out. So there's like no calories because Coke Zero's got no calories. That cancels out the calories.
Right.
So then you're not eating anything bad. Yeah, that's how I do my diet too when I diet.
Then I can eat my cake and have it too.
There you can, for sure.
Yeah, so I do like some Coke Zero though, but I'll tell you though, if I go to a place, I don't like Diet Coke. If it's the absolute only thing, like I think
I'll drink anything else. I'll drink water.
I think when Ty and Rye were here, they got some Diet Cokes and they're still in the fridge in the back.
Yeah, they're terrible. And the Topo Chico water. I'm
like,
hey guys, your water and your Coke are still here. They're like, hold on to them.
Yeah, so the kids actually got some, what's it called? Grenadine? Is that what it's called?
Oh, yeah. I forgot because they were asking.
They start making sodas with the Topo Chico. Topo Chico.
Is it gone now?
They put the grenadine in there.
They did some flavors too.
Yeah, I think it's still back there. But I'll drink a diet. Like if I'm really craving a soda and I don't have anything here, like I've gotten a Diet Coke. I'll
take a water.
But if I'm at a restaurant and they're like, hey, do you have Coke Zero? They're like, no, we have Diet Coke. I'm like, yeah, water's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, fun fact of the day. So Coke is not just a soft drink. You can use it for many other things. And I'll just rattle off a list of other things that you can use it for. And if you want to know, you can, GTS, Google that shit. So it can kill garden pests. It can defrost your windshield. It can clean kitchen pans that have burnt food stuck to them. It can remove car rust and loosen rusty bolts. You can clean your car engine and your toilet bowl and old coins.
Fun.
And it can remove gum from your hair. So my question is, though, if Coke can do all of these things, imagine what it does to your stomach lining. And that is why I stick with Dr. Pepper. You can have the Coke all day long. It's going to erode away your stomach lining, and eventually you'll have to use a tube to eat, a G tube, because your stomach lining will be all eroded away because you've drank Coke.
Do you think, though, that your stomach lining is made of the same thing that rust is made of?
I don't know, but man, food, like all of these things that you can do, I just feel like if it can get rid of rust and like dissolve, I don't know.
Aren't there other things that we eat that could do that, like vinegar?
I don't know, but I don't eat vinegar. How often do you take shots of vinegar? You know what? I'm going to take that back because I feel like you probably take shots of vinegar when you're sick or something crazy.
No, I mean, surely there's other things that we digest and we eat that can do other things as well. Like vinegar is in all sorts of things. Like, you know.
Yeah, but it's not like you're going to sit down and drink a 44 ounce of vinegar like you do with your Coke. All I'm saying is, Dr. Pepper, I love you. I would never betray you like Scott does.
I found this today. It's strawberries and cream, zero sugar.
Oh, zero. Where'd you find that one?
That's at Walmart.
There you go. Freaking Walmart.
About time. Didn't have any spotted dick. They sure had some zero sugar Dr. Pepper. Strawberries and cream. Yes, I stick to Dr. Pepper. I mean, that's the number one choice, but I do like some Coke Zero. But are you sure like not all sodas do that? Pepsi does Pepsi.
I've never seen anything about any of all other sodas doing that. Like the only one that I've seen do that is Coke. I still don't think Dr. Pepper could do all of that because Dr.
Pepper's healthy.
Is good for your stomach. Correct. It's healthy. It's good for your lining.
It builds lining.
It gives you a boost when you need it. Mm-hmm. Like Dr. Pepper. We love you still.
Yes, we do. Absolutely. Well, good. Fun fact of the day. Next time I have a rusty bumper, who has rusty bumpers anymore?
I mean, you have a rusty car engine. I was going to say that you had a rusty bolt the other night, but you didn't. You had a stripped screw or whatever.
Stripped screw, of course. Of course, there was the screw was stripped out. Why wouldn't it be?
Did you ever finish that, by the way, or did you?
No, I was just stuck with unfinished projects all over the place. Just so you guys know. So one of the motors. So my son has one of those. So Jayce, some neighbors gave it to us. It's a Radio Flyer go-kart. It's up like 8 miles an hour. Well, he's like, Dad, like this wheel doesn't turn very well, and it smells like something's burning. And sure enough, one of the motors was burned up. And so I'm like, hey, no problem. Look it up online. It's like, yeah, super easy to change. Blah blah blah. Just get the motor. No problem. Get the new motor.
Where do you buy a new motor for that at? Do you just go to like Walmart or something?
Amazon. You buy everything.
Oh, okay. Got
it. I get the new motor and worked up some of that stuff.
Ugh, it is nasty.
I get the new motor. I get it all disassembled. Well, the problem was I didn't watch the whole YouTube video. Like I just watched the first little bit. I was like, oh, that seems easy. Like I can take that off. Well, there's a gear that's on the old motor that has to be moved to the new motor, but you have to now you have to put it into a vise, and then I have this piece of metal that I made, and I stick this in here, and then I heat it up with a torch, and and I'm like, that's not easy. That's not normal.
I hope you commented on that YouTube video and said, you need to preface this is easy if you're not a Pritchard, or this is easy
if you're not handy.
Right. Yeah. Because that is if you're handy. Right. Right.
Yeah. So now I have no vise because I don't have tools. I have some, but I'm not like a huge tool guy.
Right.
And so now I got to find a vise that I can, like a tabletop vise.
You know who I feel like could fix this for you?
Probably
Jared.
Most other people.
Jared, your brother-in-law.
Yeah, he probably could.
He probably has the tools. He's probably
I'll take it over to him.
I bet he could fix that in no time at all. He'd be like, Scott, this is so easy. All you got to do is, and then invite, and it would be fixed.
He does have all that. So I got to hit him up. I got to get the oil changed in my car and take it over there.
I bet you can do it. I bet money.
Probably do it. It's a shop right there.
Right there.
You're correct.
100%.
Glad I brought it up. So anyways, I get to that point and I'm like, there's no way I can get this gear off. So now we're done. And I'm like, sorry, Jayce, I've got gear oil all over myself. My hands are disgusting. I couldn't even get one of the motors off because the bolt was stripped. Like even before I even put a screwdriver to it, it's stripped. I'm like, of course, like why would it come from the factory in a way that it works right? And so anyways, I was good because I bought two motors because I was going to replace them both. And now I have a disassembled go-kart in my garage.
Take it over to Jared. I bet he gets it done.
I bet you could. So anyways, yes, that was an unfinished project. I'm just full of unfinished projects because I get to a point and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Like, I don't know how to do this. And I YouTube it and they're like, oh, you need blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't have that. Like, and I'm not going to go buy it because I need it for one project.
So for me, it's like, it comes to a point, and this is everything in my life. I'm at this point now that I can afford to pay for convenience.
I pay other people.
And so, yeah, I don't projects. Nope, not going to happen. I'm going to pay to have this done. Typically, this is something that you should have known from the start.
Well,
Like, you should have just known. I'm just going to put it out there. You should have just known that this was going to end this way. It wasn't going to be easy.
Well, I was on a high because I put in your Nest thermostat and didn't blow the circuit like I did the first time.
The second time. I get it. It's like that false confidence build up. I get it.
Like, I walked into your house. I'm like, oh, hey, it's working. Is it working? Is it turning off? You're like, yeah, it's working perfect. I'm like, dude, I can freaking conquer the world now.
Yep. That false confidence. It'll get you, bruv. Been there. Mm-hmm.
Hey, just wanted to follow up to, switching topics, going to follow up on our poll from last week. Our poll from last week or a couple weeks ago, actually. Yeah. How many MRIs have you had in your life? Because my daughter, if you remember, she has had 4.
Right.
She's 14.
Mm-hmm.
We had quite a few votes. 3 votes for 1. A couple people have had 1. What's funny is one of my friends here commented and said, hey, you don't have I forgot to put 0. I forgot to put that as an answer. So she said, you don't have 0. So I added 0 and then she put it on 1. So I don't know. Because she wasn't on 1 before. And then I said, hey, I put it on. I put 0 up and she put 1. So maybe she forgot she had 1. We got like 5 for 2, 3 for 3.
So did anybody put 0?
Yeah, 3 people.
Oh, okay. 3 for 0.
People.
Okay.
Yeah. Kaylee, our niece, Kaylee.
Yeah.
But then 15 people have had 4+ MRIs.
I would be in that. If I would have voted on that, I would have been one of the 4 because I'm trying to think. I've had a ton of scans, like just CAT scans.
CT scans.
CT scans. But for MRIs, I had 1 back in 2018 for my back. I don't remember. I think they must have done a CT scan when I was knocked out in high school. I don't remember if they did a CT scan or if they did an MRI because I was knocked out. Okay.
I remember CAT scan.
Okay. So they did a CT scan back then. So then I had the one in 2018 that they first did on my back to find out that I had the extra vertebrae. Then when I had the aneurysm, they did 2 or 3 when I was in the hospital, like when I first went to the emergency room. Then I went a year later because I was having the same symptoms. They did another MRI then, and then I just had an MRI on my back in August of last year. I had another one. So yeah, I would be in the 4+. But that's all been within very recent, since 2018.
Yeah, I've had 1.
And your kid's had 4, and she's 14.
Dad's only had 2. I feel like he should have had more.
That's kind of surprising.
But he's claustrophobic, so he can't really.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he doesn't do MRIs normally.
MRI,
he has to do the open MRI. I love the closed MRIs. I go in there and it's like, want, and I stare at the light and then I snooze. I nap for the entire time because it's like the loud noise in your ear, staring at the light. It's like hypnotizing, and then I'm knocked out. And then they'll come on and scare me because they'll be like, beep, how are you doing in there? Like super loud. And I'm like, I'm good. But yeah, normally I sleep through them.
Yeah, just the one. It was quite the experience. And that's how it was, just the noise and weird stuff going on. But yeah. So they figured out what they needed to figure out. But old Lexi, 4 MRIs. I thought she had 3, but nope, she had 4. Forgot her foot. Thought it was broken, but it was just bruised bones.
There you go.
So, Holly, how has your dating scene?
It's going okay. I am still on Tinder because it's just entertaining at this point. So I have a couple different stories, but I've been just recently started talking to a guy. And so he's like, what do you do? I tell him what I do. I'm like, what about you? And he's like, oh, I'm a supervisory special agent for a government agency.
Oh, government agencies.
I know,
boom,
right?
boom.
So I'm like, whoa, I got to be careful with what I talk to you about.
Oh, you guys are both like government people.
Yeah, but I feel like he's super serious. Like, I don't know, something about him screams serious. But so I was like, oh, okay, cool. I used to work with, we always called him. So when I worked on Dugway, when I first moved out to Utah, I worked out there. I worked on the homemade explosives and IED team in the drone program. And so we used to work a lot we always called them alphabet boys because we were never allowed to say which agencies we were supporting or assisting or whatever. So we would just say alphabet boys. So I said to him like, oh yeah, I've worked with you alphabet boys before. So he's like, well, have you ever dated one? And it reminded me of when I first moved to Dugway. So I was married when I moved out there to my not my last husband, but the one before. And I was married still, I think for like another year. And then things didn't work out. We ended up getting divorced. I got on Match.com because I lived on Dugway at the time, which is literally the middle of nowhere. Like the closest town is an hour, and that's the closest shitty town. Like the closest good town is Salt Lake, which is 2 hours. So I get on there.
What's that town that's an hour?
It's called Tooele. Thule. A lot of people pronounce it Thule, but it's terrible. It's like at the time when
Isn't that your ranking for the number one worst Walmart to go to or something?
That is that's up there. I don't know. Dad and I have had this debate because we've both been there and to Barstow. Oh, I just burped that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, man. We should do these at the end.
For sure. Tooele and Barstow, they're both pretty close. I mean, Colleen's up there too. Like, I'm not going to lie. The top three,
Hillsborough.
I'd say Colleen is 3. And I don't know. Maybe there's a tie for trashiest in first place, which would be Barstow and Thule. But, and one of our nieces used to live in Tooele, as a matter of fact. And I'm like, girl, why are you moving there? But when Dad and I went out there to work for a year in like early 2000s, at that point in time, Tooele was the meth capital of Utah. So that kind of gives you like an idea of what it was like. But anyway, so the guy on Tinder says, have you ever dated any alphabet boys? And I was like, I did once. I dated, he was based out of the Salt Lake City field office, and he was FBI special agent. And so we'd gone out. So I would always typically drive in to see him because he was in Salt Lake. I was on Dugway. To get onto Dugway, it's just a pain. Like, it's not like when you go home, like to Colleen, and you have to go into Fort Hood, you can just show your ID, like your military ID, and go. On Dugway, you have to have a reason to be on the base. So, mom and dad, if they're driving out and they just want to check it out, even though dad's retired military, he can't just go and show his ID and they're going to be like, oh yeah, come on in.
Right.
Like, you have to have a need to be there. And to get on the base, if you don't work there or live there, you have to be sponsored by somebody. So it was just such a big deal. So I'm like, you know what? It's also the middle of nowhere and there's nothing to do there. It's not like there's a restaurant. There's nothing. So I would always drive in to see this guy. So we've been out like probably 7 or 8 times. Good chemistry, like smart guy. Like, we always had such a good time. Well, do you remember Oscar Pistorius? They called him the Blade Runner. He was the Olympian.
Yeah, the Olympian with the double amputee, right? Right. So do you remember that he... Isn't he in jail?
Yes. So, okay. So just make sure you remember who he was.
Or something?
Killed his girlfriend, right. So when we were seeing each other, this is when all of this was going down. This whole like Oscar Pistorius situation. So we go out to this bar in Salt Lake. It's probably, I don't know, like I said, 7th, 8th, 9th time we've been hanging out. So we've been seeing each other like a month and a half, 2 months. We get to the bar and we're going to a concert after that I had bought tickets for. And so we sit down at the bar, we're eating, we order, a couple beers, we order food, I think burgers or whatever. And so the Oscar Pistorius story is like breaking news.
Right.
And so the police is doing a news conference to discuss, here's the facts, blah, blah, blah. He's been arrested. So the guy turns to me and says, hey, do you think he did it? Or I can't remember how he phrased it, but we end up talking about it. I'm like, yeah, I think he's guilty. Like, I said, look, I don't know, but based upon the story they're telling, it sounds like he's done it. And so he says, so are you saying like, and this is after like we're discussing everything, it's not like this is the first question. It's like we're discussing the situation. We know like kind of what happened. The girlfriend was in the bathroom. He shot through the door, kills her, says he thought it was like an intruder. I don't know what the deal was, right? Regardless, at some point he says, do you think he did it? And I said, I just feel like based upon what we know and what the police are saying, he sounds guilty. And so the guy says, so are you saying the police can't make a mistake? I was like, well, no, like, I'm not saying that. Like, you asked me about this instance, and in this instance, I think he's guilty. And he gets like, all of a sudden, just like super angry and turns his back to me because we're sitting side by side at the bar. And I'm like, hey, like, I start to talk to him again about like something else, and he doesn't respond.
But he's like a FBI, CIA
He's an
guy.
FBI agent. Yeah. Okay. So this was kind of weird already. So the bartender the whole time, I used to love to bartend because the stories that you could like hear people talking about. So I knew the bartender's there kind of watching what's going on. And like, we were very affectionate. It wasn't like, it wasn't super PDA, but like we came in, we kissed. He was like, we were close to each other. So the whole night we've been affectionate. We get into this argument. He turns his back on me. And then, okay, now mind you, I've driven 2 hours from Dugway to go to this dinner and concert.
Right.
And then he's like, bartender, can I get the check for my burger and beer? And I'm like, what is happening?
What's
like, are you like this upset? Are you leaving? He still won't say anything to me. He finishes eating his burger, drinking his beer, pays and leaves. And the bartender's like, what just happened?
Wow.
And I'm like, I don't know what just happened. Like,
so he was mad because he said the police can't make a mistake, and he got upset.
I said that the police could make a mistake, but I said I thought the guy was guilty. I don't know what, like, maybe that guy was his hero. I don't know if, like,
maybe he knows him. I don't know.
Maybe he wasn't feeling us anymore, but I'm like, I feel like you were feeling me because the way we were kissing, like, that's not how you kiss a friend or somebody you're not interested in. But the bartender's like, that's the strangest shit I've ever seen. Like, you got in an argument over this, right? Because he was listening in. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what happened. So he gets up and leaves. Weird. Never talked to him again, except then a couple years later, I'm on a dating app, and guess who liked me? That same guy. No, swear it. And I was like, I wanted to like him. I wanted to match with him just so I could be like, hey, so what's your thought on the Oscar Pistorius? But I was like, that dude's a crazy guy, and I didn't match.
Dude, you should do it. Just match and be like, hey, so everything that ever since a couple years ago, every match I have has to do with Oscar Pistorius, because I just need to know if you think he really did it.
And I don't think he recognized me, though, because when he and I were dating originally, I had the really long hair. Mm-hmm. And then when I was on again, I had my short hair. And so he probably didn't realize I was the same person.
I mean, worst case, you're just going to unmatch. But you only have so long to match, right?
Yeah. And at that point, I had paid for it. I had paid for 1 month. And so I could see who liked me. And I saw him on there. And I recognized it as him because he has I'm not going to say his name, but it's a very once in a lifetime name that I've never heard anybody else have before. So I was like, that is him. And it was crazy. It was good. It was funny. But
yeah, he just must have wanted an out, or didn't like the concert you were going to go to. Well, I don't know. So did you go to the concert?
I don't remember. I think I was.
I just went.
I don't know if I did. I'm assuming I probably did. I just remember being so like, what the fuck just happened?
Wow. That's crazy. Like, I need a way out. Here it is. Oscar Pistorius. So now whenever I hear that name, that is what I always think of. I thought you were telling me when you texted me that. You texted me that earlier this week. You said, hey, do you remember, this? Or I'm going to tell you the Oscar Pistorius story. And I thought you were going to say, nothing wrong with it, but that you were matched. You went on a date with a double amputee. And that's what I thought you were going to tell me.
Oscar Pistorius caused the end of that, whatever it was.
Well, good job, Oscar.
I know, man.
Ruined that relationship.
Ruined things everywhere, left and right. But now I will say, like, so I'm still on. So that was like the special agent guy. So I told him the story. I gave him the very abbreviated story via text. And he was like, that is insane. I'm like, that's crazy. So
maybe he knows him.
I don't know. He might. I just said he's based. I don't know what agency the guy who I'm talking to works for. I just said this guy was based out of the Salt Lake City field office as a special agent. So
the new guy.
So that's the new guy. And then,
does he only eat fish? Have you gotten that question yet?
We haven't had that question. I have not gotten to that point yet, but I'll get there.
What are the odds?
The other guy who I'm talking to. Okay, so this is a guy, he's significantly younger. I say that he's 34, but to me that seems so young. And he is absolutely just beautiful.
It's almost 10 years younger than you.
I know. And I showed some pictures of him to Val, and she was like, wow.
Wait, what?
He is pretty. Yeah. When we went to the baseball game the other day, I showed Val because we sat next to each other.
Wow.
And she was like, oh, girl, he is pretty. I was like, girl, I know. So she's like, there's got to be something wrong with him. I'm like, mm-hmm. She's like, he probably wants kids. I was like, nope, he's got twin 14-year-olds. So he's good on the kid front. But we went out. Well, and I don't ever, like, it is rare. Like, it's rare that I'll think like somebody's out of my league. But he is like so beautiful that I'm almost like, this man is out of my league. Like, it makes me insecure. Like,
nah, you're good.
Why is this man like talking to me? Like, he's got those washboard abs.
Is this the FBI guy or whatever?
No. I have
different guys.
No, this is a different guy.
No, not the one from Oscar Pistorius, but
no, different guy. So the new guy is the agent, and then this is a different guy that I'm talking to. I said there's another guy. Yeah. So this
dating
guy,
scene. I'm not up with this dating scene, so I don't know.
He says, so his nickname is Winston. So FBI guy, I haven't given a nickname yet, but this new guy, I call him Winston because he told me he's Jamaican.
Didn't you nickname somebody Tobacco Mouth?
Yes, there was a Tobacco Mouth, but he and I don't want to talk anymore. Oh, we can talk. I mean, he did. I
just didn't know if we'd already said that.
I don't think we talked about him, but I always give nicknames. Like, I never
what's my
never
nickname?
call them by their name. Well, I mean, like, guys I'm dating. I'm not dating you, so.
All right.
But so new guy, I call him Winston Shakespeare because in how Stella got it. So he says he's Jamaican. So I'm expecting like this Jamaican accent. And then he comes and he's like talking normal like me. And I'm like, aren't you Jamaican? He's like, well, I was born and raised in Oklahoma, but my parents are Jamaican, like lived in the island, came over here. I was like,
You ain't Jamaican, boy.
Oh man, come on! Like you had me all like you're gonna be like, okay, man, that was a really terrible accent. But
you're
anyway,
you're expecting Sebastian, Little Mermaid.
Yeah, that or like how Stella got her groove back. The guy Taye Diggs' character in that movie is named Winston Shakespeare, so that's what I call this guy. He's in my phone as Winston Shakespeare. Yeah. But so we met up the other night, and it was funny because I go to my suburban yacht club again. Good old fashions. Yeah, it's good.
Hey, real quick. I was listening to the show. We go through the show. You talk about old fashions, and I'm not a drinker. So what is an old fashioned? You say, hey, they make a great old fashioned, or they,
So it's bourbon. Like, no idea. It's a bourbon. It's a bourbon based drink. I like Woodford Reserve double oaked bourbon. So it's got bourbon and orange bitters, sugar, stirred. It's just based on how they make it, I think, is why they call it the old fashioned. But it's good. It's got orange peel, and they serve it with fancy cherries, which normally I don't. It's not like maraschino cherries, but it's like the fancy ones that I'm like, right. I normally don't like cherries, but I do like those cherries. So I'm always like, hey, can I get a few extra of those? So anyway.
That's what I do at Sonic. We get a cherry limeade, and then you ask for extra cherries.
I always get an ocean water and ask for extra ocean. I keep burping this nasty drink.
So I feel like I'm eating a lot of gummy bears and drinking a lot of Dr. Pepper this show. So I don't know if I'm trying to like get rid of the flavor of the ginger and probiotics, but I just keep eating gummy bears. But of course, if there's candy in front of me, like it's gone. I will.
That's why I'm glad it's over on your side, because that candy would be gone. I would leave you with just the yellows and the whites.
By the way, I did see they had a whole package of green, just green.
Ooh, where'd you see that?
I think it was a 7-Eleven. It was like 100-year anniversary or 100 something.
Greens are my favorite. I
thought it was, and I was going to get them for you, but then I was like, no, she's on this diet. I better not.
Those greens had been gone. I haven't had gummy bears in like 3 weeks, and every day.
So they had strawberry. So they had all greens, and then they had one with all blue raspberry, which I was like,
I don't like the blues so much, but I do love me the green ones. But anyway, so back to the beautiful man.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, I'm over at Suburban Yacht Club. He's like, yeah, cool. So like a lot of people, when they see me, they assume I'm lesbian. Just because of my hairstyle, for the most part.
Well, sometimes you wear your rainbow shoes a lot.
I do have rainbow shoes that support the LGBTQ community, 100%. So anyway, like he walks in. So I'm sitting at the bar and I'm super casual. And I make sure these dudes know, unless it's winter. If it's winter, I have very cute dating clothes, like cute sweaters and stuff. But it's like summer.
I remember you come out with your big old sweat hoodies and
I have very cute
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, I have super cute winter clothes for dating. But summer, I'm like, it's hot as hell outside right now. So I'm coming out like shorts and a tank top usually. And so I make sure these dudes know, like, hey, I'm super casual, just so you're aware, because I don't want them showing up in like normal date attire and I'm chilling in some, so the other night I'm literally in yoga pants and a tank top. And I tell him this, like, hey, I'm just going out super casual. So yoga pants and tank, don't feel like you need to get all dressed up. He's like, cool. So he is so beautiful that when he walks in, I look at all the other women and it's like they are all stopping and staring at him like, oh my God, who is this man? Like women who were there with dudes.
I probably would have, sounds like I would have stopped and stared at him.
Yo, man, he is beautiful. And then he walks up and sits next to me, and because you can see them follow where he goes, right? And then they're like, where's he going? Where's he going? And he sits next to me. And then you can just see the relief wash over everybody's face because they're like, oh, he's here with his lesbian.
He's here with the lesbian.
So it's great. He gives me a hug. But all the girls who were sitting at the bar there, they're like all trying to catch his eye. And I'll say he didn't even look at any of them. Kept his eye on me the whole time. Super polite.
That's good.
So yeah.
Well, there's something wrong. He eats only fish or he eats only vegetables. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just not, it doesn't fit your lifestyle.
I did say something about it, and he said something about only eating chicken and fish. And I said, oh, so you don't like steak? He said, oh, I love steak, but I only eat that on my cheat days. And then I remembered his beautiful washboard abs. I was like, okay, so you're not going to eat steak when you're trying to get these abs. I get it. But I'm just thankful he does have cheat days where he will eat steak. He does drink.
So real quick, that's not the first time you walked into a bar and people thought you were lesbian, right? I alluded to this before and you didn't catch on to it and I just kept going. We just kept moving. But you were so excited. You moved into this. First of all, you were so excited about living across the street from the ballpark. And that has since
worn off.
Diminished. Yes.
Correct.
And then you were so excited because you were going to take your friend to the bar that was literally right across the street from you.
Right. So Karen, she's going to come visit. And usually when she visits, she'll stay for usually 3 weeks-ish. We just have a good time. It's pretty much like us just drunk for 3 weeks. Like when she visited in Utah, it was 3 weeks straight of drunkenness. We saw domestic violence disputes in the courtyard. We saw car crashes. We saw people drive the wrong way because we just sat on my balcony for the full 3 weeks and just drank from like the moment we got up all day long. Great, great time. We went to a baseball game. We rode electric scooters drunk. Like there's just, fun. Oh man, good times, good times. So I'm like, hey, so I'm going to go explore the area. And we're super excited at this point in time because it's like, hey, I live across the street from this baseball stadium. It's going to be great. But she's like, try to find some places that are nearby that we can walk to. So we don't have to worry about like riding electric scooters drunk somewhere. So I'm like, yeah, cool. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go explore the neighborhood. So across the street from my place is a mall. And then along the outskirts of the mall, they have, restaurants like normal malls.
Right.
So
Perry's Steakhouse is right there.
Right. And Perry's Steakhouse too. So I see that there is this bar directly across from me. It's called Wild Pitch. And I'm like, cool, baseball themed bar. Like we can totally go here and drink. So I'm like, it's like a Sunday afternoon. And I'm like, hey, I think I had told you, like, I'm just kind of explore. So I'm not going to come over for dinner. So I tell her, I'm like, hey, I'm going to check out this bar. It's real close. I'm going to go check it out, see what beer they have on tap, see what the scene is like. But I think this could be like our spot. So she's like, cool. So I go in. I had just gotten back from Utah. So I had shorter hair enough to wear it up in my hawk. And I've got on like just shorts. I've got on a concert t-shirt from the Modest Mouse concert. And Modest is spelled out in rainbow lettering. Like it's just the way it is. And then I have on my LGBTQ shoes. So they're rainbowy. They're super cute. Love them. So I walk into this bar, and as I'm walking into the bar, I'm texting Karen and Elizabeth. And so Elizabeth sends a text as I open the door to walk in. So the hostess says, hey, did you want to get a table? So I look up from my phone real fast. I say, no, I'm just going to check out the bar. And I start reading Elizabeth's text. So I'm not paying attention to anything other than my phone right now. And I kind of glance up and I noticed, hey, there's a lot of dudes sitting at this place. So I'm like, hey, girl, like walking into this bar.
Looks like there's going to
be lots of dudes, like it's going to be potential. So she's like, cool. When you first walk in, the bar is in a circle and all of these seats are taken, but I can't see the other side of the bar. So I'm like, cool, I'll walk to the other side of the bar. They've got a lot of taps up there. So I walk over around the side and I notice there's one seat open, but it's weird that they even had a seat there because it was right where the POS is for the servers to go enter everything. So I walk in and I stand there. Still not paying attention to surroundings or anything. I'm kind of still looking at my phone, checking out the beer. And I hear the bartender ask me if I want a drink. I say, no, thanks. Well, as I look up and say, no, thanks, like it doesn't, like I notice she's not wearing pants, but it doesn't register that she's not wearing pants. Like I'm like
maybe she just has a super short
maybe
shorts,
like short shorts or something. Yeah. But I don't notice it immediately because again, I'm still engrossed in my text messaging back and forth. Well, then another bartender walks by and it registers that bartender is not wearing pants either. And then it registers.
Wild Pitch is
Wild Pitch.
Not a normal.
Yeah. So bar. It's at this point, I realize that none of the servers or bartenders are wearing pants. They're all just like in underwear. Some are in thongs. Some are in like cheeky underwear. They're all wearing super tight tank tops.
And that's why.
And I look around and I'm the only woman in this entire bar. And I can feel every man staring at me like this bitch is going to come in and take these women. I don't even like women like that. So I'm standing there. Another bartender comes over and goes, hey, can I get you beer? It's like, nah, good. I just wanted to check out to see what you guys had. And I like beeline for the door. And I'm like, hey, Karen, I think that bar's out. She's like, oh, what? It wasn't good? And so I tell the story and she's like, only you. Like this shit happens to you. Like stuff like this always happens to you. And I'm like, I know, girl. I don't know. So needless to say, I haven't been back to Wild Pitch.
So my buddy used to ride bulls. He's from Utah. And so when they were in high school, they had to go get sponsors. So they would go different places to get sponsors. And the only sponsor, I guess, that he could get, or he went in somewhere he didn't realize, but he walks in and he was sponsored by the Rainbow Saloon. And he didn't realize that the Rainbow Saloon was a gay bar. And so he gets up and he, all his buddies, like he doesn't know, he's like so excited and he goes to ride the bulls and they're like, Jason, sponsored by the Rainbow Saloon. And his buddies, like, just, this was 25 years ago. And he's like, I didn't know it was a gay bar, but that was the only ones that would sponsor him.
Money's money.
Yeah.
It all spins the same. Doesn't matter where it comes from.
Yeah, but when you're in high school 30 years ago and you're
I guess by that's true. In Utah,
the Rainbow
that's
Saloon
true.
in Utah, you know what I mean? So that's
fair point. Fair point.
But no, that's crazy that it wasn't the first time that there's 2 stories now where the people are like, oh, good. Well, the first one was they were looking at the pretty boy, you know, like,
yeah, they're like,
I got a shot.
You could just see the relief. And the women at the bar, though, it just made me laugh because I would look over and you could see like, because, you know, I'm a woman. I know how to flirt. Like you want to look at the guy and get his attention and then look and then look away, but make sure he knows. And I could see the women trying to get his attention, doing all sorts of stuff because he is this beautiful. And they're like, oh, this is his lesbian best friend he's out with.
Well, don't screw that one up.
I mean, he's so beautiful. I don't know.
Have beautiful babies. And
then I said to him, I was like, first of all, no, that's never going to happen. But second of all, I'm like, I was like, hey, like before we met, why are you talking to me? Like, I'm pretty confident. I'm a pretty confident person, but like you are extremely handsome.
I didn't see some pictures.
And I'm like 10 years. I mean, he is very handsome. I'll show you pictures. I'm not going to show it to the world because I don't need the world going after him. You don't need to
show me here. I just
see,
show me.
He's handsome, right? Okay, keep watching. Like, washboard.
Okay, just hook me up with that dude.
Very handsome. You just have to eat a lot of steak and fish, though. Not steak, chicken and fish.
Hey, see.
He's a very good-looking man, and you could see.
Listen,
and like,
nobody wants big muscles and washboard abs. Get out of here with that. That guy's good looking.
I'll tell you, it makes me feel very insecure when I see it. I'm like, what is happening? And he's like, I don't know. You make me laugh. You have a lot of swag. I'm like, I'm a big dork. But then come to find out at the bar, he's also super nerdy like me. So we had some amazing nerd conversations. It was good. It was good times.
You don't have a nickname for him yet? Or is that William Shakespeare?
That's Winston. Winston Shakespeare. So I told him that at the bar. I was like, bro, you ain't got no Jamaican accent. That's when he was like, well, I was born in Oklahoma. I was like, man, this just ruins it. I have you on my phone as Winston Shakespeare. He's like, who's that? I was like, from how Stella Got Her Groove Back. And he just laughed. He's like, so dumb.
All right. Well, sounds like it's a good match there. So don't.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think our time's about up. I forgot to put a timer on, but I'm looking and I think I know what time we started. But I just wanted to share a couple of things. First of all, again, Holly, back to our demographic of 35 to 44-year-old females that listen to our show. I have a little Pritch Moan segment I want to talk about real quick.
Okay, let's hear it.
Have you ever been to a freaking parent meeting from the school? Like, hey, your kid is going to be in XYZ, and so we need to have a parent meeting about it.
Yep, I have.
And so we have 85 parent meetings a year because it's like, oh, your kid's in art. We're going to have an art parent meeting. Your kid's in football. We're having a football parent meeting. Well, now it's like your kid's in band. We're having a band parent meeting. And we typically skip all the parent meetings. But Lexi had a band parent meeting the other day.
And she's going into high school?
And she's going into high school and she's going to be in marching band. So I figured, maybe like this is something new. Like we went to like the first parent meeting for football when Jared went into middle school and then never went to a volleyball one, never will. Okay. And then I realized like, it's the same thing. I show up to the parent meeting and like, just don't like, I have a friend. We have a friend in the neighborhood and she always gives us crap because she always goes to the meetings and we're like never there. So we're like, always take good notes for us. You know what I mean?
What happened? Do you make her tell you what happened?
Yeah, of course. We're like, okay, what is there anything I need to know? So anyways, I go to the parent meeting and I text her and I say, hey, you should be proud I'm at the parent meeting. She said, take good notes because I guess they were out of town. And I said, I already left. And the reason was, no joke, like this is how they are. They hand us a packet. They're like, hey, get that packet on the table. And the guy gets up and he goes, I don't mean to insult your intelligence by reading this to you, but I'm going to read it to you. And he proceeds to read to us the entire packet. Like,
what's the point of having, like, why have a meeting then if you're just going to read a packet? Like, if you're not going to say anything outside of the packet, why not just say, come to the band hall between these hours and pick up the packet?
Don't even come to the band hall. Here is the email. Here is the email with the PDF.
Good point.
Because it wasn't even like, it's one thing. And then they're like, anything we talk about, we're going to email to you guys. I'm like, why the flip do we have a freaking parent meeting if you're going to waste my time? And so I ended up getting up and leaving because we went to the baseball game. And I just am like, they're pointless. Why? Like, we are living in the age of technology. Why do I have to show up to a parent meeting when all you're going to do was send it to me anyways and send me the slideshow? And you're not talking about anything that's not on there. And if you are going to talk about anything that's not on there, you're going to tell us about it. Like, why do I have to show up? Like, what is happening?
I feel this way in work meetings. I'm not going to lie. I 100% believe that you could eliminate 99% of work meetings. And there's a lot of times that I have to sit in on work meetings that if it was an email, I would just be on the CC line. Like, I need to know this information, but why do I have to sit in for this hour-long meeting when we're going to talk about this when you could send everything that you've talked about in an email. Like, you're wasting my time.
Yeah.
And I have a really hard time in meetings because, ADHD.
Oh, yeah.
It is so hard for me to pay attention in a meeting. That most of the time when I'm in meetings and they're like, Holly, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I got pulled aside for something else. I was chatting with an employee, because it's like I can't pay attention
my house when there's nobody else.
Right.
There.
I've no clue what we're talking about at this point. Like, meetings are super hard for me. And for example, it's like, this just reminds me, not to cut into your Pritchin Moan segment, but it reminded me last night when I'm talking to the special agent. He says, hey, do you mind if I call you on the phone? And I'm like,
yes.
I hate talking on the phone. So he comes up with like, oh, well, I like to talk on the phone. I don't, to get to know some people. I'm like, listen, I'm severely ADHD. Talking on the phone is so hard for me because I'm going to lose not interest, but I'll lose my focus is going to be somewhere else when we're talking, and I just can't do it. And that's how I feel in meetings. Like, I'd have been pissed though if I would have showed up to that meeting and they just started reading shit verbatim.
He just read it verbatim. It was verbatim. And I'm like, why are we here? Send me the packet. Tell me to read through it.
And I love the fact that he prefaces it with,
I don't want to insult your intelligence.
It's almost
You're like you insulted my intelligence just now.
Right. It's like when people preface something with no offense beforehand, or if they say at the end of whatever they're going to say, they say, I'm just saying.
Just saying. Right. Like, yeah, I understand.
Just because you're just saying doesn't mean you get to be an asshole before you say, I'm just saying. Like, we have a sister who does that. Love her to death. But I'm like, yo, girl. She is. And I'm like, yo, girl.
One of our top listeners.
Just because you say, I'm not trying to offend you, or I'm just saying at the end of whatever you say, doesn't give you the right to be a dick. Yeah. You don't get to just say that. Like, if you have to end something with, I'm just saying, don't say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because most of the time, it's just you being an asshole.
Yeah. So I was so upset because I'm like, all right, maybe we're going to talk about and I did miss the first parent meeting, maybe where they talked about the kind of those things, but there's a second parent meeting. I'm like, well, what was the first parent meeting? Because like, it seems
I was upset because we were late for the game.
But I just, and it's Lexi, and Lexi's probably listening too. And I love you, Lexi, but you are like, she is like, wants to be at everything, doesn't want to miss something. And that's fine. And I love it. But man, this meeting was just like, why am I here? And so I got up and I walked to the back. I stood there for a minute, like my back was hurting. And then I turned around and like booked it because I had made the mistake of actually speaking with the band director prior. I didn't tell him whose dad I was, but he had led us into the front of the building. We were supposed to, I guess, go to the back. And so he led us into the front. And I said a few words to him as we walked in. And so then he knows me. You know what I mean? Right. And he's like, that guy just walked out. But I'm like, seriously, like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is like, why are we having like, if COVID taught us anything, it's like, we don't have to show up to a meeting and it still happens. We didn't have to freaking show up to school and it still happened. Right. Not that it was like the best. I can't say it was the best. Put it in an email. It was what it was. Yes. Put it in the email. Hey guys, like, this is what we're doing. Like, even with my like volleyball team, I don't have a parent meeting. Like, obviously we've been together for a while, but I just send everything out. Like, hey, check on this, look at this, let me know who's in, let me know who's not. Oh, no, show up for this parent meeting and I'm going to read it. Like, he did not deviate from it at all. It was like word for word. And I'm like, I'm out. I can't take this. No, I wouldn't. And it happens all the time. And so, yeah, so that's kind of like my Pritchin Moan segment because that just happened this week. So
that is annoying.
And real quick, we're on the subject of school. You mentioned email, send things in email. How often do you use outside of work? How often do you use email anymore?
I mean, I get emails from like Amazon. But do you mean like, do I use it for communication?
Yeah.
Funny you say that. So one of my best buds, his phone was stolen last weekend and I hadn't heard from him. And he's one that I text every day. And I'm like, what is happening? Where is he? Like, did he die? So because I tried to send him a text and I get a message back that says message blocking is active. I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I send him an email and he replies and I'm like, hey, like, are you alive? And he replies back and was like, weird. I sent you an email to tell you that my phone was stolen because I knew that you would worry. Well, whatever. I don't know why it happened, but the email he sent went to my spam when this is like we've contacted or we've messaged each other in the past, but he still hasn't got his new phone yet because his claim was just accepted. The only way we've been able to communicate over the last week is by email. And it's the worst. Yeah. And we even talked about this morning where I was like, God, not having a phone sucks. Like, email's lame.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I couldn't tell you how many emails I have. I have a ton of emails on my phone, but they're all work related.
Right.
And then of course I have my personal ones on my phone as well. There's a couple things that come in here and there, but outside of that, I don't email people. Be like, hey, how are you doing? Right. However, there is one hack that, because now what happens is my personal email is so full of junk. You know what I mean? It's like, right. Anything I've ever ordered, now they're sending me,
right. Same.
Everything. And so every once in a while, probably like once a year, I'll go in there and I will unsubscribe. Like I'll have like 8,000 emails. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to block out 30 minutes and do this.
Oh, I just unsubscribe as they come in. They come in, unsubscribe.
Yeah, but I just don't even go do it. So I just like, okay, I'm gonna take an hour and I just unsubscribe to everything and I delete the emails and I get it all cleaned out. And then Ava will come up to me and be like, Dad, why do you have 243,000 emails? I'm like, I don't know, because I haven't checked it. It's not that, like 9,999 plus. I'm like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, she's my emails have to be at 0 every day.
Well, that's my personal. So my business emails are 0. They have to be at 0.
All my boxes are at 0.
I tell my office, like you're, like we have to be at 0. Like that's our goal is 0 emails. Cause I don't want to miss a client. I don't want to miss something like that. So, but so obviously I use email with that, but a little email hack that we had for those that have kids, we created one email for everything kid related. Okay. And so anything for school, because one thing you probably know, you probably saw this, with your kids up in Utah, but we get 725,000 emails a year from the school.
Correct. About everything.
Everything.
They'll send a note home with the kid and then send it in an email as well. I still get emails.
And we'll have the parent meeting and they'll still send me the email.
I still get emails from Caden's elementary school from 2018.
Oh, wow. So one thing we did was we created one email and it's for everything kid related. And so anytime, like anything with the school, they don't have my personal email. They have that email. Anything for sports teams, anything for doctor's appointments, anything that has to do with the kids goes to that one email. And I know that everything that comes into that email is for the kids. And so if I think right now I have 240 something unread emails from them because I'm like, I don't care to read whatever you just sent me, or it like pops up, I have the pop up on my phone.
Right.
And so I just kind of skim it and it's like, your library books are due. And I'm like they'll turn them in. Like, I'm not worried about that. So I do have to go through that. And so about twice a year, I go through that and clean that out. Like Christmas break, clean everything out. End of the year, clean everything out. And, but that's like a huge life hack because you never lose your email because there are things that come in that are important,
Right.
And usually it's lost in your 725,000 emails that you have.
And you can't remember who sent it or what the subject was. And so how do you search it? And then, or if you search by the school, then there's 20,000 other text messages from the school. So no, that's actually a good idea. Yeah. So we just created one email and it's basically Pritchard Kids, email. And that's what it's named. Like that's the name, like Pritchard Kids. That's first name, last name. And it just all comes to that. And it has cleared up our life big time. So anyways, just thought I'd share that little hack, close it out, little life hack. That is a good life hack.
That has helped us over here in the family life, kids and all that stuff. So anyways, well, everybody, thanks for listening into us today. Holly, I still can't get over this guy that left you because you thought some dude was guilty.
And he was.
He was guilty. Maybe that's why he's coming back. Maybe he's coming back to apologize.
Well, I mean, that was years ago when I was up in Utah, so I don't have to worry about him.
Well, I'm talking about on the dude. Oh, did he match you? Sorry. Did he match you in Utah or he matched you?
Yeah. No, he matched me in Utah. So when he matched me years later, it was...
I thought it was here.
No, it was like within recently. The last couple... No. It was within the last couple of years that he matched again. And I'm like, nah, man, get out of here with that mess. But I did match with another guy. One quick story. I did match with a guy before, and then we matched up years later again. And then after we started talking, I realized we'd already gone on a date before, and I mentioned it to him. He's like, wait a minute, did you used to have long hair? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, did we meet at this spot? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I do remember that. I was like, yeah, I never heard from you again. Then I never heard from him again.
Ghost. Well, that's the dating life.
The dating life.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for being with us, and we will see you next time.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, my channel? Please hit the drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Looking for my first subscriber. Can't subscribe myself. Can't do that for some reason. I don't know why. Wish you could.